Guys, I am so excited to tell you about one of the newest sponsors of SPTV, and that is Ekster wallets. My biggest complaint with all the slim wallets that I've used is having to take all the cards out, select the card, and put them back in. Not with Ekster wallets. I don't know how they do it. It doesn't fall out. I am in love. The other thing that I'm in love with is this tracker card. Thin as a credit card. Find your wallet anytime, anywhere using the Find My app on your iPhone. I like to keep the card right there in the cash strap. Room for extra cards here if you want, room for extra cards here and you want. I like to keep mine as thin as possible. This is their Parliament model, classic brown color, but check out their website. They've got tons of designs, tons of colors, but don't forget, use my custom link and use the code SPTV for up to 55% off. One of the best ways to support this channel is to support our sponsors. So please don't forget, use my custom link, use the code SPTV to get up to 55% off for Ekster's Christmas sale. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Speaking of not being in a cult, let's talk about Chelsea Handler. This is a weird one, you guys. I've titled this video, Chelsea Handler Makes Amends. Interview as a former Scientologist. Why am I saying Chelsea Handler makes amends? I don't know, guys. The timing on this is really suspicious. Let me show you. 6 days ago, I did a video called Chelsea Handler Betrays Leah Remini, Supports Scientology. Now, I took a little liberty with the title of that video, but I stand by the content of it. Chelsea had interviewed Riley Keough, Lisa Marie Presley's daughter. Riley is a Scientologist. And Chelsea is good friends, very good friends with Leah Remini. And, you know, Leah Remini's entire identity at this point is exposing Scientology. And Riley Keough is a Scientologist, a Scientology apologist. She's whitewashed her mother's story of leaving Scientology. And there was a period in the interview with Chelsea and Riley where Chelsea actually said that Lisa Marie Presley was a Scientology success story. And that it was so nice to hear some good things about Scientology after all the negative things that she'd heard about it. Now, I will tell you, I was absolutely embarrassed and horrified to find out that 20 minutes before I started my live stream 6 days ago about Chelsea Handler, it just so happens Leah Remini had just put a post on Facebook thanking her good friend Chelsea Handler for something totally disrelated. And I was like, because I started seeing comments on my video of like, Leah Remini just thanked Chelsea Handler today. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I checked Facebook and I'm like, oh, dear God. I've never said Chelsea Handler's name ever in one of my videos in 10 years. And it just so happens 20 minutes before I do a video about Chelsea Handler for the first time, Leah Remini mentions Chelsea Handler on social media for the first time in like 5 years. Anyway, I do not think it could possibly be a coincidence that was it yesterday or today? Let me just yesterday or today, Chelsea Handler does an entire segment on her podcast interviewing someone who has just left Scientology and who has just been disconnected by her parents, and specifically mentions what good friends she is with Leah Remini. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know if Chelsea's making amends or if I'm the one making amends. Let's say we're both making amends in the video today. This is, let me show you Chelsea Handler's podcast here. It's Dear Chelsea. And also in the video I did 6 days ago, I said Chelsea's podcast, like it's a brand new podcast. It started 5 weeks ago. Apparently it started like 3 years ago. And Chelsea only started uploading the videos of her podcast to YouTube about 5 weeks ago. So I'll correct the record on that. My earpiece wasn't working earlier. Hopefully it's working now. So guys, yeah. So look, Chelsea had on a guest on her podcast, an actress named Bethany Joy Lenz, who I guess is from a TV show called One Tree Hill. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. And Bethany Joy Lenz herself was in a cult. It was a Christian cult, but a cult nonetheless. And so Chelsea and Bethany together take a phone call, and these are all prearranged, take a phone call from someone just out of Scientology. This phone call is absolutely fascinating. The clip that we're going to talk about here, it's 15 minutes long, which is longer than usual for Chelsea's podcast for talking to a call-in guest. And I don't think I know who this former Scientologist is. I listened to the story. It sounds like her parents are senior executives at the Seattle org. I don't think I know who this person is. But if you're out there and you want to have a chat with me, if you want to do a video, if you want to do an interview, please let me know. growingupinscientology@gmail.com. And let's just jump right into it, guys. I'll try not to stop it too much. I found this to be unbelievably fascinating. And let's take a listen.
Well, I think we have a perfect question for you.
Okay.
We have Mariah on the line, and she'll be joining us here in a moment. She says, "Dear Chelsea, last year, just a couple days before my 30th birthday, I got the call I had been expecting for some time from my mother, who informed me she was, quote unquote, parting ways with me. My parents both work for the Church of Scientology, as well as my siblings. There's an episode in Leah Remini's TV show about the Seattle Church of Scientology, which covers a document my father wrote about how to get money from parishioners. I really can't emphasize enough how deeply involved my family is. My parents felt the need to disown me after I left Scientology, but that's because it's one of the church rules. My mom had been holding out on disconnecting from me for a while, but I could see her growing more distant over the last year, so I did know it was coming. As I reached out to try and keep a connection alive with her, she eventually stopped responding. But then at the end of October, she finally called and told me. I'm still doing a lot of work to recover and deprogram myself, but I feel so devastated for my mom. I could hear over the phone that my mom was crying and reading from a script in front of another person who was monitoring our call. I hate that the hard life she had landed her in a cult she's now been in for nearly 45 years, and she felt like she had to cut me off despite us having an otherwise very good relationship. Of course, I'm also so angry and hurt that my own family would do this to me. I miss my mom so much, but I don't want to cross the boundary she set. But I also want her to know she can come to me if she needs. I'm successful in my own right, and I have no plans on having kids, so I keep a spare bedroom available just in case my siblings or my mom manage to escape and need to go somewhere. The holidays are coming up, and we won't spend them together, and I don't know if I should reach out or if I should just focus on protecting myself and just move on. Do you have any advice? Sincerely, Mariah."
Wow. Now I got to tell you, as I heard that story, I was actually very convinced that I did know who it was, unless Mariah's not her real name, because the person I'm thinking of, not named Mariah. This whole thing of making someone disconnect while the ethics officer is listening on the phone, totally normal. It's so disgusting. The things that we thought were normal in Scientology, oh, that's what I mean, totally normal in Scientology, not normal in the world. The things that we thought were normal and justified, the more time I spend out of Scientology, the sicker it makes me. Look, guys, my phrase for describing Scientology on this channel and my videos all the time is multi-billion-dollar, international, family-destroying, human trafficking cult. And I've said it all a million times. I'll say it a million more times. To me, the most objectionable part of Scientology, and there's many objectionable parts, but for me, based on my personal experience, it is enforced familial disconnection. And Mariah's story epitomizes that worst aspect of Scientology. Here we go.
Oh, hi, Mariah.
Hi, Mariah. Hi. Nice to meet you guys. It's great to meet you too.
I'm going to put this on 1 1/4 speed. I hope it's not too annoying, but I'm so used to watching everything at 2x speed that I just simply can't stand listening to things at normal speed. So here we go.
Nice to meet you too. What do you think about that, Joy?
This breaks my heart. You don't deserve that, Mariah. You do not deserve that. And nobody does. That is not okay. It's not okay. I guess I would say that maintaining any kind of contact, I guess it's what feels authentic to you. Like, I don't know that there's a hard and fast rule. If you have it within you, even a thread of it, to be able to still, happy birthday, thinking about you, Mom, love you, Merry Christmas. Dropped off some flowers for you. I hope you enjoy them. Like, if you have that in you, if you can find that place, that would be beautiful, and I think that would be meaningful. But you're not obligated. If you can't, if you don't have that capability, like, you are not responsible for saving your mother. So I think it's got to be from what is going to feel for you like what you need to do.
What are you, Mariah? What are you doing? Like, how are you coping? What are you doing for yourself to help yourself get through being excommunicated from your own family?
Yeah, I see a therapist, but
I kind of like mentally left before this happened. And it was a balance of like, okay, how much do I and don't I tell my parents about like my life and just being honest and stuff about everything going on in my life. But it really is just my mom, like that I I wonder about. And so I talked to my therapist about this a lot, and I'm kind of just still dealing with it. I journal and stuff, and just still trying to figure out everything about how to move forward and like what I took from this that's bad and good, you know? So I don't know if that answered your question good enough, but I'm just trying to kind of make my way through.
Can I have a question, and I also want to tell you, like, because my mom stayed in relationship with me by not asking too many questions, not pushing too hard. She just kind of stayed on the surface, knowing that eventually I was going to come around. But my dad was different, and we were.
Real quick, guys, in case it's not clear, I believe in Bethany's case, she is the one who, when she was in the cult, had disconnected from her folks, and they were the ones hoping that she was eventually going to come around.
Became estranged. I did essentially to him what your mom has done to you. And I, even in my delusion, I never stopped loving my dad. They lied to me. They tried to make me believe terrible things about my father that were not true. And even as I was trying to like navigate through that, he started sending me letters, handwritten letters. He started sending me photos of my little brother and birthday parties and what was happening in life. And they used to make me really angry. I used to not want to read them. I didn't want to deal with the emotions that they brought up. But it made a difference for me. Like it did. When I got out, I knew he was there. I knew I was going to have to make one hard phone call to pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm really sorry. It's been 6 years," but I did it.
Wow.
And you know, that's possible. But
I just have to jump in. That is, I realize well, first of all, it's incredible advice. And to be honest, it's the exact same advice that I give people who contact me or anyone with the SPTV Foundation and say, I have a family member in Scientology. What can I do? And the advice is, if you try to get them out, they're going to disconnect from you. The best thing you can do is just make sure that they know, without even saying anything offensive or insulting about Scientology at all, that when the day comes that they want to leave or need anything at all, ever, for any reason, you are still someone safe that they can go to. It's really all you can do. And I'm just really blown away. I'm listening to it more closely now than I did the last time at the quality of advice that she's giving, and that she's giving advice from having been on the other end.
At the same time, that's not to say that, again, you're not responsible for her journey. But that is something. But my question, if it's okay, do you feel comfortable telling us what advice your therapist has given you? Because I haven't been put in a position to give advice much other than like one-on-one if I see people and they're asking me, but this is new for me. So I would love to know what that advice is, if you're okay with sharing.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just finished reading your book, and it's really good. So I think your story is incredible, just for the record. And I did get kind of emotional hearing you talk about your dad, because I listened to the audiobook, which was definitely a good way to hear your voice and get your take on what you went through. But yeah, that is something that I exactly talked to my therapist about, is like, okay, so I feel bad that my mom is in this, but also like I was born into it. I didn't have any choices and she made choices. And am I being delusional that it's like, it was our relationship actually what I thought it was? And did all the rules that I was taught growing up actually come from her places of like, I think this is right, versus I'm told to tell you this, and this is what I've been led to believe. But yeah, the advice my therapist has given is to just try to move on and try to accept that it might, I might never hear from her. She's been in it for, longer than I've been alive. So she has been an ally of Scientology longer than she has been my mother. So that's something that is like, realistically, yeah, if you're going to get past that, you have to leave a very powerful cult, one of the more powerful ones. And like that, yeah, that's not super realistic. And then there's like my siblings and my dad. Like my dad is almost sort of the less type of person, to compare it to your
Wow.
situation. Yeah. And so he's a narcissist. He uh is really good at getting people to give money to Scientology, done to lots of people what Les did to you, in terms of like money management and stuff like that. So uh my mom sees their relationship as, you know, the greater good. She's helping the world be better by supporting him. So she's like the breadwinner. She's kind of been supporting my dad my whole life while he works for the Church of Scientology and she works part-time for the Church of Scientology. So
Wow.
yeah, that just to give you some context of why my dad's not, I'm like not interested in, in being in my life, you know what I mean? So
Sure.
yeah, my therapist and I mostly talk about just kind of moving on from this, and if she ever does reach out, like just take it from there.
Yeah. And also, you know, to be able to remind yourself that like this isn't really who your mother is. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost like dealing with an addict where you have to remember that they're on a drug and that this isn't a reflection of how she really feels about you. You know that she was upset during that phone call. You know that she was being monitored during that phone call. We all know all of these things that cults do to their cult members. But to remember that like it's so sad what you've experienced and what you're still going through. And I totally I can feel you, you know?
Yeah.
I got to jump in here. Maybe you guys can tell me what you think about this. If her mom's been dedicated to Scientology for over 40 years, longer than Mariah's been alive, I don't know that I find it true or helpful to say, you know, take comfort or solace that this isn't really who she is, or whether that means this is her cult personality, or whether it means she's doing this because she feels she has to, but not because she wants to. I don't take any comfort in that. In Mariah's, being in Mariah's shoes, I don't take any comfort in that at all. In fact, for me, it might even make it worse. Like, okay, so you're doing this even though you don't want to. I'd rather think that you're just so deluded. You know, I don't know. I want to know what you guys think about that. I know Chelsea's trying to be helpful. I'm not just trying to be hypercritical, and I'm just armchair quarterbacking what she's saying. But, you know, I have conversations with people leaving Scientology all the time. And I just know that it's not something I would ever say is, I wouldn't try to comfort someone by being like, this isn't really who your mom or dad is. I actually look at it the other way. It is who they are. It is who they are. Now, if they leave Scientology, they'll become someone else. But as long as they're in Scientology, this is who they are. The brainwashing, to use just a, you know, sloppy term, is very, very real. And, you know, who are we if not whatever it is about us that dictates our actions? Your actions are who you are, and whatever you believe in, however you feel, that dictates your actions. I don't know. I think that's who you are, guys. What do you guys think? All right, we're almost done here.
But that's not who your mother really is. And that's not a reflection of her love for you. Your mother does love you. I believe that. You know that she loves you because she was so upset during that phone call.
Yeah.
And you know that is the drug making her do that. You know, and as painful as that is, you can't have that in your life
Yeah.
unless she has the gumption to leave the church at some point. And like you said, she's been in there for 45 years. That is very unlikely. So what you do have to do is try to make peace with the idea that you did have a family. They're not themselves in this current state, that you did experience tons of love and joy, and take a lot of pride in the fact that you were able to remove yourself from a situation that put you at odds with your family because you were standing up for what you know is right.
Yeah.
And that
That's great.
wasn't for you. And that is really ballsy and really brave. And as heartbreaking as it is, that is what is going to carry you forward to the rest of your life so that you can pursue a successful life. You can have a successful romantic relationship with whomever you want. You can have your own family, and you have to carry on like these people aren't going to leave Scientology, because the likelihood is slim, but you never know. It could happen,
Yeah.
but you just can't count on it happening. And I think you should get up every day and think about the things that you have in your life that you're grateful for and write them down. Every morning, write down the 10 things that you have that are your own. And those things can be that you had the goodwill and the good sense to get out of a cult. I got myself out of it. I'm standing here on my own 2 feet without any of them because I had, the presence of mind to do something better for myself.
Yeah.
Don't diminish any of the gains that you made by getting out of that.
That is great advice. And also think about this as an opportunity, because there are older women who are brilliant mentors who can step into that role for you and be a friend and be, nobody's ever going to replace your mother. But I think that, as I was just saying before, there's no sort of like get out of suffering free card. We all have something that we encounter that's just like, how am I going to get through this? What am I going to do? And there is opportunity in every one of those moments. And there may be somebody out there who you're going to encounter that you never would have encountered if this hadn't happened. And they need you in their life, and you need them in your life. Maybe multiple people, you don't know. So while that doesn't wipe away the pain, and you still can hold that pain and process through it as you need to, there is opportunity. And there are really good things that can come from hardship.
How did you decide to leave Scientology?
That's it. Probably, I think anyone who leaves a cult, there's not like a single moment that they like just decide, I fit finally see the light,
Yeah.
It's usually a ton of moments, but for me it was the silver lining of being born into it was that my parents were quite busy with it and quite neglectful, so I was sort of left to my own devices most of the time. I read the internet. I got an education because I eventually had to start working like retail jobs to just like have enough money for food and stuff when I was a teenager. And I was like, well, I want a better, sorry about my dog.
Oh, that's okay.
I was like, I want a better life than what a retail job can give me. So I went to school, and that was sort of the beginning of the deprogramming. That was how I kind of learned how to determine if something is real or not when a claim is made, is how I learned how to, like, I got a science degree, so I learned a lot about how science works and what is and isn't science. So for me, that was how it went down, because Scientology is not really a sort of God type religion. It's barely a religion, but it's like more about, oh yeah, if you do A, B, and C, this will happen. But then there's actually no real evidence, no real anything but claims.
You're amazing. That's such a great story.
We're going to cut it off there. The phone call does go for a bit longer. I was really blown away by this. It sounds like, by the way, it sounds like Mariah was not sent to a Scientology school as a child. I don't know if there are any Scientology schools in the Seattle area personally. It sounds like she was never, she managed to, lucky enough not to ever be made to have joined staff or the Sea organization. She had open access to the internet, and she had a real education. And if I heard correctly there, it sounds like she even went to college. I don't know. Did you guys hear that as well? It sounds like she had a full education. And those are pretty good tools for getting out of Scientology. I'm quite convinced. I do not know who this person is, but it sounds like her dad is actually one of the senior executives at the Seattle org, and that her mom is also a staff member. I would love to hear more about Mariah's story and about her upbringing. And actually, slightly later in the interview, she explains that one of the things that brought about the disconnection was that Scientologists had seen on Twitter that she was following some undesirables, dare I say some suppressive persons. She doesn't say who, but that she was reported. She was reported to the Scientology authorities for following people on Twitter she shouldn't be following. And her mom confronted her on this. And she basically said, yeah, you're not going to dictate to me who I can follow on Twitter. And her mom sort of started to distance herself, and it became clear that, you know, disconnection was kicking in. And it sounds like, if I'm understanding correctly, it sounds like perhaps just a couple months ago is when she was officially disconnected from. What an amazing opportunity that Chelsea happens to be doing a podcast with someone who's promoting a book about leaving a cult. I really wonder how they're able to line this up ahead of time. And it just so, like, I don't know how they decide what letters or what phone calls they're going to take, but the odds of them having someone submitting to the podcast to come on who is going through Scientology disconnection, and they're able to talk to her on the phone and get her story while Chelsea's talking to someone else who also left a cult. I think what an amazing little confluence of events. And I wanted to at least share that with you. Okay, let's run through some starred comments and we will wrap this up. Luma Sochi, thank you very much for the super sticker. Constance June, I feel like this feels like the old growing up in Scientology days with multiple streams in one day. Absolutely. I'm trying to get back in the saddle, folks. Acute Pumpkin Clodhopper. She watches your channel. Are you talking about Chelsea or are you talking about Mariah? Arnie Van Halen, again, Aaron rules. Thank you, Arnie. Constance June, I still think it's strange that Chelsea praised Scientology and then Leah praised Chelsea. I seriously doubt Leah watches Chelsea's podcast, and I seriously doubt that Leah knew at the time of her Facebook post that Chelsea had just the night before uploaded an interview with Riley Keough. I can pretty much promise you she had no idea. Sharona, these stories are always so heartbreaking. Yes, and thank you for being a channel member for 9 months, Sharona. Constance June. Oh, I'm out of sequence here. Sorry about that, guys. Ann SPTV fan. I met Bethany once at her movie premieres and after party. She was very nice and humble. Fantastic. Danielle, I met Aaron and friends a week ago. Totally awesome. Thanks again for chatting. Danielle, you came out to the coach, to the Lisa McPherson thing we were doing outside the Coachman. I hope I've got the right memory. Good to see you. Soon, when you have to disconnect from, by the way, guys, me and the crew are going to be downtown Clearwater tonight at the Fort Harrison at the Flag Building for Friday night graduation. Come on out and say hi. We're going to have pizzas again and all that good stuff. Soon says, when you have to disconnect from your own child because she dared to leave the church, you are not part of a religion. You are part of an abusive cult. I totally agree. Mary James, I truly hope Mariah is watching this and comes on your channel. She would have a ton of support. I hope so too. Acute Pumpkin Cloudhopper, I'm sure the flowers would be confiscated. Oh, if she sent flowers to her mom. Yeah. Joe Leva, I hope Chelsea is really listening. I doubt it. Lydia Von Stretchclaw, if you need help leaving Scientology, you can contact the SPTV Foundation. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And Mariah, if you need any help at all, please contact me. I mean, contacting me or any of the board members is the same thing as contacting the foundation. But you can reach me at growingupinScientology@gmail.com or Aaron at the sptvfoundation.org. Danny says, yeah, I wouldn't stake anything on what Chelsea Handler has to say about it. I don't agree with what she just said at all. Alrighty. Soon, Handler could have been brave and asked Riley the difficult questions, yet she did not. She played softball with her. I agree. Paralyzed to paralyzed. It's a fair assessment, but it won't change anything because her mom is that deluded. They all are. Right. Oh, the assessment that it's not, really her mom. Yeah. I feel like me and Chelsea, we're pretty much saying the same thing in different. Like, I understand what she means. I guess I just don't think it matters. I don't think I would comfort someone that way. That's all. Constance June, that's strange advice they are giving her about taking comfort. I agree. Tim Greenglass, Riley Keough appearing with Chelsea Handler says it all. It never would have happened unless the thing was scripted. That's true. Debbie Johnston, she's saying that her mother did not have a choice. I know, but it's like, the thing is, we all do have a choice. But again, I absolutely know what she meant, and I know what you mean as well. Catherine Churchill, I actually think the addict analogy is pretty good, except the way things are today, don't expect anything else. Right. Constance June, I don't like the everyone has something they have to, wait. I don't like the everyone has something, they have to suffer and be grateful for something else advice. I hear you. Dave Owens, her mom is her mom, and that won't change. Chelsea has no real standing to say who someone that she doesn't know really is. That's true. I agree with that. Could be possible that her mother might really believe in it. Yeah, I agree with you. Dave Owens, the poor woman is better served moving on rather than thinking that somehow her mother will come around. I totally agree. Marilyn Honig, it's kind of like someone being told to take comfort in reasons for being put up for adoption. It still feels like rejection. Absolutely. All right, guys, that is all I have on this. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Stay tuned. In about an hour and a half, me and the crew are going to be downtown Clearwater, keeping Scientology some company on another beautiful Friday evening in Clearwater, Friday the 13th, and Friday night flag graduation. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.